Welcome, welcome. And today we are doing EFT tapping, of course. So this is flow tapping, and this is what we do, continuous tapping. So while I speak about this particular topic today, which is changing and shifting your identity, I am rich, I am wealthy, I am free, and whatever other identity you wish to insert in that space. So, why is identity so important? Actually, firstly, let's discuss why I am tapping on my face right now. If you're not familiar with EFT tapping, this technique is incredibly transformational. It's called emotional freedom technique. And I do these live tap and talks so that I get people tapping, even though we're not doing targeted tapping, which we will be doing some targeted tapping, but this still actually tunes in to your central nervous system. It works on your subconscious blocks, fears, doubts, and limiting beliefs. Even if you are not focused on anything specifically, it is still working on your frequency and your vibration. So, and I just want you to normalize using this technique every single day because it will absolutely transform your life in so many wonderful and amazing ways. And if you need to, you can go and Google emotional freedom technique and you will find loads of information on the internet. There's millions of people worldwide who've been using this over the last 20 years. It is absolutely spectacular. So let's get into shifting your identity today. So, firstly, you cannot achieve results that are not in alignment with who you believe yourself to be. Okay. So, for instance, let's take a really obvious example. Just say a highly tuned, fit athlete who trains every day, is in the gym all the time. Just say they woke up one day and they gained 20 pounds. Like, shock horror. How quickly do you think they would lose that 20 pounds? They would double their training regime. They would modify their diet. They would do anything and everything to get that weight off because that's not who they identify as. They do not identify as somebody who is 20 pounds heavier than their training weight, than their athlete weight. They identify as an athlete who is fit, who is healthy, who is lean, who is strong, who is paying attention to their health and their well-being and their fitness and their physique all the time. That's what they do, and that's how they identify. So come to something like a relationship, say. If you identify as somebody who attracts people who are, and I'm not talking just intimate relationships, I'm talking all relationships. If you identify as somebody who attracts people who are authentic and real and kind and loving, then I'm not saying that all your interactions will be like that because there are people who are in all kinds of ways. But you will predominantly attract people who you identify with. Like attracts like. You will attract your tribe depending on how you identify. This is why they say rich and wealthy people hang out with rich and wealthy people. People who drive Mercedes hang out with people who drive Mercedes or those kinds of cars. And people who sail yachts hang out with other people who sail yachts, probably down at the yachting club. People who play golf hang out with other people who play golf. So do you see that there is this identity that you adopt? And it's not hardwired into you. This is something that you are conditioned into. It's an identity that you adopt. Now, often we pick up these identities between the ages of 0 and 7 and up to 12 because they're the most impressionable years. And they are the years where we are learning how to survive on this planet. I heard the other day, actually, that if we choose to come to planet Earth, then this is like the hardest existence there is in the cosmos. I don't know for sure. I can't remember any other existences to compare it with, but this was something that a good friend said to me, that apparently planet Earth is one of the harshest experiences that we will ever have as spiritual beings. So, and just let's just say, I hope that's the case because it can be tough for many. It can be really tough. But the beauty of this reality is that we are creating it moment by moment, and we are creating it according to how we identify. So if you identify as somebody, and this is subconscious, not just conscious, it's subconscious. So it's being able to bring the subconscious into the conscious. That's really important. Once you can make the subconscious conscious, you have mastered this experience called life on planet Earth. And the world is your oyster once you master that. So because a lot of this runs in the subconscious or the unconscious. And if you identify as somebody who is a failure, then what do you think is going to happen every time you attempt to achieve something, and specifically something significant? You're probably going to fail because your identity is as a failure. So you are going to naturally make choices that create failure because that is in alignment with your identity. Remember, this is not hardwired. This is why we do this thing, this tapping thing, because we want to shift our identity. Our identity is also in a strong alignment with our values. Our core values are a part of who we are, how we behave, what we believe. So, and you don't have to shift your core values to shift your identity. But your core values are what's most important to you: family, health, contribution, consciousness, money, wealth, whatever it might be. It's your top 3 to 5 values that drive your behaviors, and you align that with your identity. So your identity drives your behaviors, your behavior drives your results, and your core values are a part of your identity. Okay. So if you identify as somebody who's let's pick one that plagued me for many years. And that is because I was bullied at school when I was 6 and 7 and 8. And I sort of adopted this identity that I was pathetic, that I was a loser, and and that I was weak. And this identity plagued me for many, many years. And I'm not even saying that I am done with that yet. I'm still a work in progress. This is like my core childhood wound that has taken me a lot of work to really release the tentacles from my subconscious mind. And this is why we are all a work in progress. Okay. So it's no matter what your results are right now, if you don't have the results that you want financially or the results that you want in your business, then it's important that you look at what identity you have that is potentially impacting the results that you're getting. Somebody who is wealthy and successful and identifies as a wealthy and successful person, their results, their decisions, their actions, their behaviors, and consequently their results are naturally going to reflect the identity of a wealthy and successful person. So where there's a whole lot of people out there beating up on the rich and wealthy, and they've got all this resentment and anger toward the rich and wealthy, don't have a resentment and anger toward the rich and wealthy. They figured out the system. They're working with the system. Work out what they're doing and do it too. Don't blame them. If you don't like the system, I get that. The system is not set up for you to succeed. But those who are succeeding are playing by the rules that support their achieving the results that they want, and their identity demands it. Their identity demands that they are rich, wealthy, and successful. Now, they may have started out with that identity, growing up in a rich family, always supported, always told you can achieve anything, or they have worked on themselves, or they just went in hard and they stayed focused and they built that identity within themselves and they refused to back down and they refused to take failure as like some sort of terminal diagnosis. They just built the belief within themselves that I am doing this, I will succeed, and nothing and nobody is going to stop me and stand in my way. Now, that doesn't mean you have to be ruthless. It just means you have to be determined and committed and tenacious and resilient and audacious. Dream audaciously and never back down, never quit, never take no for an answer, not the ultimate no. So, firstly, I want you to think about some identities that you might have around money, around wealth, around success. How do you relate to those things? They're just things. They're like states of being. Wealth is a state of being. Abundance, it's not who you it's not what you have, it's who you are. A rich and wealthy and successful person, they are rich, wealthy and successful in their being, not just because of their results. And it's not a case of waiting till I'll have $1 million in the bank and then I'll identify as rich, wealthy and successful. That's not the way this shit works. Identity first. Now, the little wins that you get along the way, they will support you in building your belief in yourself, in building the identity, in becoming the person you need to be. And that's important, that you recognize and celebrate the wins. You acknowledge the things that you did well as the things that didn't go so well, because you don't know what you don't know. This is all, we're all just making this shit up as we go along, let me tell you. It's like it's all trial and error. Every single thing that every single one of us does is all trial and error. Figuring out what our unique path to prosperity is. Figuring out our own unique wealth formula. It's all a part of the fun. And the more curious you are, intensely curious about how this is going to unfold and what you're going to learn and what the outcome might be, let go of your attachment to the outcome, then the more quickly you will advance, because curiosity opens doors. I say this all the time. Wealthy and successful people are playing to win. Most people are playing not to lose. So while most people are running around terrified of the potential risks, the wealthy and successful people, they understand the risks. They make sure that they have looked at the landscape and they understand the potential downsides if it doesn't work out, and they analyze whether or not they're willing to take those risks and experience that potential negative outcome before they move ahead. But they will focus on the opportunity, because it is your attention and your intention that creates the results that you want. Remembering that you are a powerful co-creator, that you are creating your life moment by moment by moment, and it is your focus and your attention combined with your intention that creates your future. So if you set a dominant intention to be rich, wealthy, successful, and free, and that is your dominant intention, consciously and subconsciously, then the outcome is inevitable. It's inevitable. You cannot fail the big test. But if you have an underlying intention that is, I'm going to be rich, wealthy, successful, and free, but the dominant intention is, I don't want to take too many risks. I don't want to fail. I'm afraid to fail. And I've failed so many times in the past that I feel like a failure and I feel like a loser and I don't know how to be wealthy and successful. If that's your state of being, then that is dominant in your field, then your results are going to reflect that. Here's the thing about things like affirmations. I'm not saying not to do affirmations, but it's important that you understand why affirmations alone are not the entire formula. They're a piece of the puzzle, but not the entire formula. Because the universe, source, is not responding to your words. It's responding to what is in your field. What is in your field is your frequency and vibration. So this is where it gets really, really cool. And this is where, when you understand this and when you master this, you can take the right action to shift what's in your field, because you are literally a field of information. You are a field of information, and your field of information is constantly in communication with the universe's field of information, with the infinite field of information, because everything is one, everything is connected, everything is energy, frequency, and vibration. And in that communication, whatever is dominant in your field will be reflected straight back to you. So if you're not getting the results that you want with your health, with your relationships, with your money, with your business, then what is it? What information is dominant in your field that is communicating with source that is being reflected back to you? This game is freaking genius. It's just that nobody gave us an effing manual when we arrived. So we got no freaking idea what we're doing, and we've got to figure it out. And that's kind of part of the fun and the frustration and all the rest of it. And this is why I come back to get intensely curious about how this works, how you can master it, how you can become better at it, and how the results that you have right now, don't get upset about them. They're just information. It's just feedback. It's just telling you there's something in your field that is conveying this information, and this is why you're getting this result. Because you are a powerful co-creator. You are creating your life moment by moment by moment by moment. So you shift your identity, you shift what's in the field, you shift your results. And if you take this information and you put it to work in your life, there is absolutely no doubt in my mind that your life will be transformed. It depends on how dedicated you are to putting this to work in your life. How bad do you want it, mate? Because everything that you need already exists. Everything that you need is already within you. You may need to develop it. You may need to develop certain traits and characteristics and overcome those limiting beliefs and these identity, screwed up identities that you have, because any identity that does not align with wealth, abundance, love, peace, joy is an anathema to who you truly are. It's a lie. It's deception. It's a false construct. Are you ready to ditch that shit? Like, seriously, are you ready to ditch that shit? Because it is your intention that is the foundation of what happens from this point forward. This could literally be a changing moment in your life if you decide. Every single decision and choice that you make decides what happens tomorrow, because your thoughts, your beliefs, your actions drive what happens tomorrow and the next day and the next day and the next day. You plant the seeds today and you nurture them tomorrow and the day after and the day after. You will start to see shoots start to grow relatively quickly. They will break through the surface. but you've got to keep nurturing them and watering them and feeding them and making them your primary focus. So, what seeds do you want to plant today about your identity? New identity. What old identity are you willing to leave behind right now? What are you no longer willing to tolerate from this point forward? These are crucial questions that once you get clear on the answer and you decide that you are going to transform your life, and a lot of this is because people are afraid of change. We are naturally hardwired to fear the unknown because back when we were still, fighting saber-toothed tigers, the unknown was inherently dangerous. And the unknown does hold potential outcomes that we may not be prepared for and we may not like. There are no guarantees in this life. I can't tell you that it's all going to be sunshine, rainbows, and unicorns when you break through. Everybody, like this life is just, and this whole journey is going from one challenge to the next, to the next, to the next. That's life, mate. That's life. Embrace it. That is life on this planet. It is challenge after challenge after challenge after challenge. And if you don't choose your challenges, they will choose you. There are rich people who are incredibly miserable. And there are poor people who are insanely happy. You get to choose. It is a state. And you can be both rich and happy at the same time. Preferably, that's my preference. Rich and happy. Because everything is possible. Open up your field to all possibilities. Embrace all the opportunities. Rich and wealthy people, they are focused on opportunities. They know there are always risks involved. Always, always, always. There's always risk. There is never an opportunity or an action that you take that does not hold risk. It's a part of the game of life. Every morning you get out of bed, you take a risk. But not taking risks guarantees that you will live a life of mediocrity, disappointment. Is that something that you want? If you are right where you are now, in 5 years' time, how will that feel? Is that acceptable to you? Will you be, yeah, okay, I'm good. I actually love my life so much that if my life is the same in 5 years' time, I'll be really happy. If that's you, great, awesome. Don't know why you're here. Maybe you just love my company. But it's really important that you get very clear on what it is that you want to achieve. And I went through the 5-step process a couple of days ago in my last live. The five steps to achieving any goal and setting yourself up for success with any goal. So that was in my last live. And what we're going to do right now is we're going to do some positive tapping. Actually, no, we're going to do some tapping on what you've identified that you want to let go of first. So I want you to identify what it is that you want to let go of, what blocks, fears, and doubts you might have. Be as specific as you can. And we're going to tap that away, and then we're going to tap on the positive. Okay, tapping on the side of the hand. Even though I have these identity beliefs that have prevented me from achieving the wealth and the freedom I desire, I deeply and completely love and accept all of me. Even though I have these identity beliefs that have dominated my life and my results, I'm ready to let this identity go now. So I can be rich, wealthy, and free. And I deeply and completely love and accept who I am right now. Even though I've had these identity beliefs all my life, and they've stopped me from being rich, wealthy, and free, I love and accept all of me right now. And I'm ready to let all those old parts of me go right now. Okay, tapping through the point, starting with the inside of the eye. These identity beliefs that no longer serve me, I'm ready to release them. These old identity beliefs that are holding me back, I'm ready to let them go. These old identity beliefs that have kept me stuck, it's time for me to grow beyond them. These identity beliefs that have kept me stuck and stopped me from achieving my goals and dreams, I am 1,000% ready to let them go. So I can become the person I need to be to achieve my great big grand vision and goal. I choose to release these old identity beliefs that are keeping me stuck. I choose to grow beyond these old identity beliefs. I know I adopted them to keep me safe, but they're no longer relevant in my life anymore. And they're causing me so much grief and stress and anxiety. I choose to let these old identity beliefs that no longer serve me go. I choose to expand my being beyond these old identity beliefs. I choose to grow and become the person I need to be rich, wealthy, and free. I choose to leave these old identity beliefs behind so I can grow beyond that old version of me and become the new, rich, wealthy, free version of me. I choose to adopt new identity beliefs that support me achieving my vision for my life. I choose to expand into the person I need to be to successfully achieve my big vision and my big goal. I choose to grow and expand into the person who is capable of creating my life by design and being rich, wealthy, and free. I am rich. I am wealthy. I am free. I choose to become rich. I choose to become wealthy. I choose to become free. I choose to expand to become rich. I choose to expand to become wealthy. I choose to expand to be free. I choose to remember who I truly am. And who I truly am is rich, wealthy, and free. I was born rich, wealthy, and free. I am choosing to remember who I truly am. I choose to be rich. I choose to be wealthy. I choose to be free. I choose to know I am rich. I choose to know I am wealthy. I choose to know I am free. I choose to know I am rich. I choose to know I am wealthy. I choose to know I am free. I am rich. I am wealthy. I am free. I am rich. I am wealthy. I am free. I am rich. I am wealthy. I am free. I am rich, wealthy, and free. Keep tapping. Take a deep breath. Do you feel that that's starting to really resonate with you? That your field is shifting? That the data that you have in that field and the dominant data is starting to change? That is the beauty of this technique. As you keep tapping, as you come back to this, as you keep reiterating these beliefs while you tap, and you start to pay attention, your awareness is crucial here. You start to pay attention to not just how you think, but the decisions that you make, the choices that you make. Because remember, your identity drives your behavior drives your results. So if you are acutely and intensely aware of how you are responding to life, not reacting, you don't react to life, you respond to life. And you come from a place of the observer. And you are observing how you are moving through life, how you are acting in life, how you are interacting with the different circumstances, people, and situations in your world. This is a skill you can develop. This is something I want to give you a little update. Actually, we're going to wrap it up because I just realized we're 33 minutes in. But a little update on my beautiful greyhound who a couple of weeks ago, it'll be a couple of weeks tomorrow, was brutally attacked by quite a big dog and did quite a bit of damage, but he is recovering beautifully. He's going from strength to strength every day. And I have analyzed what I did in that moment because I had nothing. I did not know what to do. I had no point of reference of how to behave in that situation. And I just froze. Now, I beat myself up about that. Like, why didn't I do something? Why didn't I do this? Why didn't I jump on the dog? Why didn't I, why didn't I? Why didn't I? In that moment, I was just completely and utterly lost as to what to do because I had two dogs on a leash and this other dog was off leash and going hard at my dog. And I was like, no preparation. See, this is a really good example. Not that, oh, you want to prepare for something like that, and not that you can prepare for everything in life. Let's just say that, hey, you cannot prepare for every situation in life. But this was a good lesson in relation to wherever you're going, wherever you're heading, that you have a sense of preparation and practice and planning. Now, you don't do that ad infinitum. You don't allow that to keep you stuck, ready, fire, aim. But to set yourself up for success, you need to put a little bit of effort in. You need to have a bit of a plan. But I have looked back, and I have looked back at how that my response in that moment, I was completely unprepared. So it wasn't unreasonable that I didn't do anything. I was just like, I had no idea what to freaking do. Thank God dog's still alive and he's healing. Um, but it made me look at other areas of my life and how I might have been frozen in other areas of my life, how I was unprepared in other areas of my life. And it actually made me really look at my behavior in lots of different areas. Yeah, okay, it's an extreme example. And my life's pretty chill. My life's really blissful. Like, it's just, my life is incredible. And that was a real pattern interrupt, a massive pattern interrupt for me. Something I never want to go through again, something nobody should ever have to go through, anything like that. But if you can be intensely aware of what you're feeling in any moment, how you're responding to life. And one other part of that story that was really important was, for several hours prior to that incident, because I am fairly tuned in to the frequency and vibration of my body, but for several hours prior to that incident, I had this weird feeling that was very foreign to me. And the only word that I can really use to describe it is kind of like this foreboding, this underlying foreboding. Now, I'm not making this up, because several hours prior, I just kept going, what is this weird feeling? I'm not used to this. I don't understand what it is. What is going on? What am I picking up on? I didn't understand it. It wasn't until several hours after the incident that I went, oh, I was anticipating the data that was in my field was anticipating that event unfolding. And that was that feeling of foreboding. And it totally made sense then. And you have this capacity too to develop this intuition. If you haven't already, this intuition and this awareness. Now I understand what that feeling is. I will be much more mindful and much more aware of, okay, where am I going later today? What am I doing later today? Is there something that I need to change? Doesn't mean that we can ward off every single negative thing that will ever happen to us. But the more aware that you are, the more you can respond in a way that is appropriate to whatever is unfolding in your life. So, I've gone way too long today. I love your work. Thank you for being here. Thank you for showing up for you. Your subconscious thanks you. Your spirit thanks you. Your being thanks you for being here, for doing the work, for being dedicated to the transformation that you need to experience and becoming the person you need to be to create life beyond your wildest dreams, because anything is possible. So if you want, I want you to know that very soon, coming up in a bit over a week's time, there is an event called the Wealth Breakthrough Experience that I am holding. It is a group coaching experience. It's actually free. You don't have to pay anything, because everybody should get to experience coaching and breakthroughs in real time. There will be hot seats live on the call. I will make sure that the link is below to be able to register for the Wealth Breakthrough Experience. I hope to see you there, and hope to see you there live. Maybe we'll even get to work together. And I would really enjoy that. If you want to actually explore coaching with me, then you can go to margheritacoach.com. You will find all the details there. I love you loads. I look forward to seeing you next week, and hopefully in the Wealth Breakthrough Experience. Be amazing. Keep doing amazing things. You're awesome. I'll see you again next week. Ciao.